Is this it? Is this the last comment and response video for this season? I don't know. It depends on how long this video is. Hopefully it's not another hour-long video. It takes me forever to upload. I'm using a lot of internet here, so I hope you guys appreciate it. We're back with the last 2 episodes and a bit, probably, of comments to look at. That's episode 9 and episode 10. After all, we have 10 episode seasons now. If you'll bear with me, I would say that this is probably the point where the show makes a few irredeemable mistakes. You may think differently. Let's see what the comments said, shall we? Maybe this is just highbrow for us Trekkies. I mean, the Borg, 3 straight years in various iterations. We just can't comprehend without pea-brains. This is for Vox, episode 9, from Undertaker again. Yeah, I mean, Borg 3 times in a row. I thought about it really hard, and I thought to myself, if you're going to do one finale for TNG, maybe the Borg would be like a good capstone. But the problem is we already had season 1 and season 2. But I think this season could have been created with the intention of, okay, this is it. This is the finale to TNG that we were robbed of when Star Trek Generation showed up. So that's why we wanted the Borg. But it's just so unfortunate that we had season 1 and season 2 of this show. Trying to cram in Borg stuff. It's just really sad, Think how much cooler this would have been if this was just a 1-season show. We're doing 10 episodes, and this was it. There'd still be little problems here and there, but I would be a lot more positive, especially towards these last 2 episodes. Maybe it's just too highbrow for us. Maybe we can understand that we need the Borg 3 times in a row. We just can't comprehend without pea-brains. Well, I mean, I have faith in the people who righted this ship, but they may have steered it in a weird direction, I'll say that, depending on who you ask. Thanks a lot, Undertaker. Amazing review, perfect. From Mary Kedickroof. Mary Kedickroof. That's an interesting name. Amazing review, perfect. Well, I'm a little bit suspicious if people who say my reviews are perfect or amazing. I don't think they're amazing. I don't think they're perfect. I think they're meandering and strange. But again, I have a weird... What triggers this on YouTube? Does anybody know what this is? What triggers it to do that? Like, I got 3 options here. I don't know. I just gave it a heart. But thanks a lot, Mary. Amazing review. Perfect. Well, that's in the eye of the beholder. Undertaker. Mark, love the channel and your content. I mean no disrespect. If you view this season with the season 1 and 2 crews, this was a direct question rather than a comment, so I specifically actually answered this one already. It's basically saying, like, would this show have been good without the original crew, right? That's the gist of it, but I'll read it out here. Mark, love the channel. No disrespect. If you viewed this season with the season 1 and 2 crews, not the TNG crew, season 1 and 2 music, and La Sirena, instead of Enterprise D, La Sirena, sorry, which makes absolutely no sense in universe. Well, would this season really be any better, or is it just they served us the same crap sandwich just with a heavy dose of member berries? If you took out the nostalgia, would you still think this is better? And my honest answer is yes, but it would get worse as it goes on. I generally think the first 4 episodes would work as its own standalone thing without any TNG characters. If we could magically remake the first 4 episodes with Captain Shaw and the only new characters on a Titan A that didn't look like an older ship and still fought Vadic, it might even be better. There's unfortunately no way to keep the La Sirena in this hypothetical situation. It's just too ugly and out of place looking. To conclude, I feel that at its base level, without any member berries, this season is superior to the past 2, but not by an extremely huge amount. If you got rid of member berries and you got rid of the original crew and you got rid of all like old ships and stuff like that, I still think for the most part this would be better. just because more interesting things are happening with a greater frequency. Season 1 and Season 2, it's just sleep-inducing. There was nothing happening for long periods of time. This season, stuff was happening in space, between ships, fighting each other, and there was some kind of mystery here and there that I was actually wondering about that didn't really have to do with TNG crew. So yeah, I would say it's better, but it wasn't explosively better, right? Member bears being what they are, that's like the one end of the spectrum. Like, bringing back old stuff, at its worst, it's a member berry. At its best, it's a symbolically powerful ending to a storyline or arc that was left unresolved. At its best, I'm not saying that's everything that happened here, but at its worst, it's a member barrier. So if you just bring in the old stuff, you're getting a mixed bag of both. So there is some value in what we saw from what they're bringing back. So at the same time, all those things considered, the old stuff does make it a little better. Just a little. But I mean, with that, best case scenario, though, in that instance, it's still better than the first 2 seasons. I mean, not by 5 points better, but it's better. If we removed all the member areas, all the old things, all the old characters, all the old character arcs, kept everything else the same, and had a newer ship that didn't look like the Titan A, and we had Captain Shaw, I mean, this would still be alright, right? It would be alright. It wouldn't be astronomically amazing, but it would be alright. And that's just my honest feeling on that. Some people would say, oh, it's just member bears that make it good. I kind of disagree. There was some gratuitous stuff in this that I think crossed the line, but I won't be getting into that here. Michael Papp again. Okay. We're getting into the stuff I have to actually research a little bit, if you don't mind. This is kind of like a meta comment. It's more just about the aura of the channel in general. It was about me reading all the comments and appreciating every comment and trying to give it its due, as I think I said, which is interesting because now I'm reading this comment, so it's kind of recursive. So there's almost not much I can say to reply to this comment. It's kind of strange like that, but thanks, Michael Papp. I appreciate that you appreciate that. Sorry to sound oddly self-serving in some way. The mystery box format can hurt a show, especially when stretched out too long. I spent a long time complaining about the mystery box. I can understand how that might be confusing for some people who aren't as genre savvy with how these shows work, but the streaming model of show tends to lean towards a continuing story, that being every story, each episode leads into the next episode, so you're essentially watching a 10 plus hour long movie. How do you keep people coming back for more? You put in the mystery box. Just type it in somewhere. I think it came from J.J. Abrams originally, who had previously worked on Star Trek. I think he coined the term. I'm not sure, but it's kind of about presenting a mystery that the entire season orbits around, and you give people little breadcrumbs to lead them along, at the expense of characters' sense of reality in the universe. So if I was in a mystery box plot and I was talking to you, instead of telling you what I thought about this comment, I would insinuate something like, well, and then you'd be like, what does he know? What does he mean? And you would have to come back again to find out what I mean. It necessitates that your characters generally are aloof and mysterious, which is not exactly occurring in reality if you happen to live in reality. And it's especially bad when it involves characters that we already knew who were more competent before, but as they've gotten older, they've become aloof, mysterious, and poetic, because poetic is code word for nebulous, ambiguous, not getting to the point. Maybe now you get what I'm saying. You've probably seen this happen in real time with modern television. The mystery box format can hurt a show. You can fix it with the mini arcs. We've discussed it a million times. I won't get into that again. Thanks, Michael Papp. Michael Papp is back. Pass back. Having some minor experience in the medical field, I completely buy the answer. It's usually what happens when doctors diagnose through the symptoms. So if Picard was expressing symptoms of the syndrome and the alterations in the parietal lobe look similar enough to the syndrome, they're going with the syndrome. They're probably not going to dig deeper. I also like the idea of medical technology still advancing even so far in the future. Yeah, I see what you mean. I think it's maybe it's one of those things where it's just like, well, listen, he had all these symptoms. It's parallel to cases we diagnosed successfully before. He accepted the diagnosis. Let's just leave it alone. I can kind of get it, but at the same time, I've also factoring in like Beverly is a doctor. Her son had the same problem, but she didn't really know it was Irumodic syndrome until later. Of course, we found out it wasn't Irumodic syndrome. You know better, but it's just like to me, Beverly would have noticed something by now, just because it's her own son. And then she would look into, okay, his father had Irumodic syndrome. Okay, his strange visions he's been having, that was probably Irumodic syndrome. And then she would try to cure it, and then she would discover something else about the Irumodic syndrome that doesn't seem quite right, like that had something to do with the Borg. And then she would, because of that, she would contact Picard or something. But that would totally alter the season, right? So maybe it wouldn't have the same dramatic flair. But yeah, I see what you mean. I see how we advanced so far medically. I mean, maybe even in the future we just give it a one and done job and say, listen, this is diagnosed. We need to move on. We can't be everywhere all at once. Thank you, Michael Papp. I always like this word, Borgified. Presumably when Bev deborgified Picard, she fixed his genetic alterations as well, yes. Or they were not considered altered enough to be concerned. There would be no reason in the universe Beverly should have suspected the Borg caused Picard syndrome. Yeah, there's no reason she would think that. But, and she's not looking for it. But what I was saying, like, in another sense, maybe you would spend more time trying to fix your son than you would try to be worrying about your son's father. And maybe that would lead to some different conclusions. I mean, I don't know. I might be just reading into it too much. Like, it might not. It might just be a red herring. It might just be I might just be going down the garden path here. But it's easy to look at these things and call it a one and done, right? That's how I would say it. Like, it was the Irumodic syndrome. It was 30 years ago. We've all moved on. I don't know. But, yeah. Thanks, Michael Papp. This is where I was mentioning about changing the past. I like it when reframing the past happens as long as it is done well. In my opinion, it's fair because it has done that well. In comics, we call that a retcon, short for retroactive continuity. It happens all the time. Totally used to it. Yeah, although I would push back here and say it happens all the time. Totally used to it. That's not a justification for it. Like, you didn't need that sentence, right? Like, you've explained it perfectly here. When you say I'm used to it, you can get used to something that's bad if you're not careful. So I would say that. Yeah, sometimes reframing the past is good. My favorite is Enterprise Season 4 and the spoilers, like the augment virus thing, and that's why the Klingons look different in TOS. That's a good reframing of the past. answers more questions than it raises. Like, it solves things. It feels good when a puzzle piece goes into a puzzle and it clicks in and the puzzle is now complete. It's satisfying, right? That's why Enterprise Season 4 was satisfying. And so in as far as Picard goes, I don't think it's quite as satisfying as that was, but you seem to think it went well. I mean, we're using Best of Both Worlds as a jumping off point. We're saying that Myriad Codec was a thing, Hellbird, whatever they call it, in Best of Both Worlds. We're saying that his DNA was altered. We're saying yada yada yada. He had a secret son. It's, I don't know, call it contrived, call it a reframing. It's up to you. You know, did you dramatically like the result? I think Michael Papp did, so that's good. This sounds like a car, Borgatti. I'm driving a Borgatti. The Gerardi Borgatti, are not affiliated with this universe's collective. I do like Michael Papp's explanations for some of the Season 2 things here. Are not affiliated with this universe's collective. They're from an entire alternate universe and had no interaction with this universe's collective. It's been wasn't it in Season 2? Wasn't the Borg Queen from the alternate timeline? Weren't they, like, connected? Like, between timelines? Am I dreaming, or could they not detect the presence of other Borg Queens in other timelines? There was something about multiple timelines, kind of like an Elorian would do, like with Guinan, how they can kind of sense temporal things and other timelines. Like, wasn't there something like going on like that with the Borg? It's been a long time since the Feds have encountered the real Borg. They've not been a threat since Janeway bitch slapped them into hiding. Yeah, in Season 1 they were ex-Borg, not Borg. I wouldn't say that is a Borg encounter either, but they had the Borg Cube everywhere. Borg Cube was heavily featured. There's the Borg, then there's the Borgatti, and then there's the ex-Borg. The layers of abstraction on the Borg we have to put on it so that we can justify having it 3 times in a row, right? You've always got the good explanations for why we can compartmentalize Season 1 and Season 2 that I enjoy. So the Borgatti are not affiliated with this universe's collective. Okay. When they came back at the end of Season 2, I'm not complaining, I'm just trying to understand something here. When they came back at the end of Season 2, feel free to answer me, and they had to, like, save them from that hole in space, and they all, like, combined their shields, was that occurring in, like, a different universe? So, and in that universe that they came back to, Rios was gone, was he not? So is Rios still around in this universe? Did anybody actually say for real, like, canonically, that there's actually another sub-timeline here? Like, am I... Not the alternate universe you're calling it. This isn't... Like, I don't really want to think too hard about Season 2, but... You clearly have a way of trying to have them interlock. So thanks, Michael Papp. I cut the kid some slack. I agree with you that mind melding the Borg out of him is objectively good. However, for someone who wants connection, Jack is terribly afraid of letting anyone into his privacy. It would seem like an invasion to have people constantly going in his head. It was a stupid idea to go to the Borg on his own, that's for sure. Again, he's a kid, basically. There's not enough emotional maturity to handle this. entirely unprecedented scenario with reasons. With reason, I didn't feel like Jack was a bad guy. I took him as running scared and being a bullheaded, cocky so-and-so, like his old man. Yes, people forget this. Picard wasn't always how he is now. Watch the episode Tapestry, I think. I might be wrong on that. I may have just got it wrong and look really stupid. But I think it's the episode Tapestry. We see we get a window into Picard's past, and that's true. I just thought I had a way around it. I just thought there was a way to write our way out of this. It would have been cool. Something about like teaming up with Jack and taking him to the Borg cube and like having him involved with like other Starfleet crew members to stop the Borg Queen or something. I thought I had something else in my mind, but in one final act of desperation, a final act of defiance, he challenged the Borg Queen on his own. Lost in the short run, but won in the long run. So there's that. I think he does get away with a lot, but again, he's a kid, but he's an experienced kid. I mean, this guy has been places, you know. He's been hanging around with Beverly, doing all that frontier medicine, as it were. So it seems kind of at odds, but complex characters are often at odds with themselves. I mean, who amongst us is fully in one lane in their lives? You know, some people take detours. So we're cutting the kid some slack. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot, Michael Papp. Michael's back again. Jack isn't going to drag innocent people with him. No, he's not, right? But we can do it anyway. Like, Picard says, listen, Jack, here's what we're going to do, and that's an order. Right? Not if he's a type to self-sacrifice previously established. He's a doctor. Damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not a tyrant. Right. But, taking innocent people with you who are willing to go and willing to self-sacrifice, and you be willing as Jack to grow into that character who's becoming Starfleet material. Like, being in Starfleet means you're willing to get your friends killed if it's the right thing to do. I know it sounds horrible, but, you know, when you're saving the universe, sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. So there's a way this can work. What you're saying is not wrong, but you're saying it from the point of view that it was Jack's. Like, Jack had the decision here. But what I'm saying is maybe you could have said, okay, no, Shaw, Picard, Seven, like, we're all doing this together. We're sharing the load, right? Just generally, you wouldn't have to ask this question if we wrote our way out of it, basically. I'm hoping that Shelby, who got killed, was a changeling. I hope so, too. Don't bring back a character just to kill them. Guys, pro tip. If you want to make people angry, bring back an old character just to kill them. Pro tip. That's how you make people angry. Who got killed as a changeling. Otherwise, I'm very disappointed they brought her back just to be killed right away. And I didn't see Shelby in the finale. Shelby, where are you? Unless I missed it. The tragic irony of Excelsior destroyed by the Hikaru Sulu. We all know who was captain of the Excelsior after Styles, I think, from Star Trek 3. Another thing is that, as you said, maybe it was an alternate universe in season 2, but we could have killed Elnor. I think he may have been on the Excelsior still. I don't know. A dumb way to kill a storied vessel like the Excelsior, just kind of like on a view screen far away. I don't know. Shaw could still live. He's still good. He's just a little bit dead. He's still good. He's still good. He's just sleeping. He's just sleeping. He's not dead. He's not dead. No! He's still good. You're the guy there on the ground shaking Shaw to get him to wake up. Wake up! Wake up! An hour after his body has gone cold. Michael Papp, he's dead. You can't wake him up. He's dead. We need to go. Throw him out of the airlock. He's gone. Stick a fork in him. He's done. Shaw could still live. Seven can use the nanites in their blood to save him. There's got to be a way. Just like the doctor did with Neelix. I can taste the palpable air of desperation in this comment. Geordi specified D was the only ship in the fleet ready to launch that's not connected. Presumably all the other ships are in museum mode. I remember I read this comment and I've just been... The phrase museum mode has been rent-free in my brain since I read this. They're in museum mode. You can't turn them on. They're in museum mode. You can go on a walkabout. You can walk around them. You can see everything on, but they're in museum mode, dude. They can't fly that. Museum mode. Haha, you want to start munching carpet. I was never so happy to see a big fat D. How did I not hurt that one? How did I miss that? They do call the D the fat one at the beginning. Nobody wants the fat one. Remember, they're looking at the little models at the bar. Nobody wants the fat one. In reality, everybody wants the fat one. It sells out in 1 second everywhere. Data was at ops, though. Geordi sat at the helm. I don't get how they could make that mistake while getting everything else so right. I almost made a short about that. Yeah, I almost chimed in about that, and then I thought everyone else probably did it. They're at the wrong consoles. There's ops and helm, and they got them backwards here. In my mind, I kind of tried to massage it and said that, okay, well, maybe you can just call up helm at the other one, and it, switches out or something. I don't know, but we've seen it one way since forever on the show, and it's just backwards now. I mean, every time a character wanted to take the helm, they went to where Geordi was sitting. And then in this episode, they tell Data to design a new warp vector, and he does it from ops. Whatever. I don't like the F either. I am, however, beyond delighted fans of the ship got their eye candy, and the fan... Jeez, I can't talk today. And the fan who designed it got to see the creation of official canon. True, I felt that exactly too. I was excited when I saw the F. I can appreciate ships I don't like. I was ecstatic that the F was there. For me, the F, it's got too much secondary hull. But that's one of the overarching issues. I don't want to turn this comment response video into a diatribe about ship design, so I won't. But thanks a lot, Michael Papp. And to break up the Michael Papp fortress here, my irritation at that renaming knows no bounds. This is I was talking about the ship being changed to the Enterprise from Iron On and Nugget Blackheart. I've watched all of New Trek. I've watched all of Trek. Just put it that way. I've seen every episode. And this is probably maybe the first time I was vibrating with rage when they changed the Titan to the Enterprise. I had my hand over my mouth and my hand was shaking. I was so angry that they would rename a ship I already hated to the Enterprise. Call it the Picard. Every dramatic bullet point leading up to that reveal was saying it is the U.S.S. Picard. Every single dramatic bullet point was leading up to it. No, it's the Enterprise. Wrong. No, it's not. It's the U.S.S. Picard. That's what it was supposed to be called. And the name Titan should have went back to Luna class, the Titan B. Luna class, Titan B, U.S.S. Picard, Constitution 3 class. And the Enterprise is revealed at some distant point in the future. Okay? We don't call it Enterprise. I'm sorry. It's the Titan Prize. No one invented that beam me up thing. Why did they say that? Riker is hit with a stun shot that beams him up, I believe, earlier in this show. Plus, it's in Star Trek Insurrection and Voyager. Not your fault, but other people saying it is new is deaf wrong, but clever adjustment to the weapons. You know what I was thinking, movie late night? Do you remember that rifle they had at the end of Deep Space Nine that had like something you had on your eye and you could like shoot through walls or something? Remember that crazy thing? Don't invent amazing new piece of technology and then just kind of leave it hanging out there, right? If something is incredible and it's an amazing advancement and it's just all around better, that now has to be the standard. So be careful when you claim to invent something, number one, and be careful when you do invent something new and then it's not around again, right? Because if the portable beam me up thing had already existed, it should be a feature of every rifle, every phaser, should it not? Right? It's better. It should be everywhere. That's another way of looking at that. So thank you, Movie Late Night. Michael Papp liked and commented. This guy knows what's up. Liked and commented for the algorithm. No time today to watch this whole vid. I just liked and commented. Just doing it for the algorithm. You know what else you can do? Just leave my videos on in the background. Everybody, just turn on my videos, leave them on. It can't hurt, right? It'll screw up the algorithm in my favor, hopefully. Thank God you didn't get an advanced viewing. If you turned to the dark side, all hope would be lost. Well, I'm just me. I don't want to have any side. But I did see a lot of people that seemed to really like this season and not have anything bad to say about it before it came out. Not naming any names. I'm not coming up with any kind of weird conspiracy theory about this. But I am saying that some of these people, you'd think they'd have something funny to say about at least the last two episodes beforehand, without spoiling anything. Not making any claims. Picard is a robot after all. He can plug into anything like R2-D2. Well, that reminds me, Picard, he became a robot, but he became an old bot. And so did Data. Is Data, still really strong? Or is his body like Picard's body, where they're kind of like normal strong? Was that ever explained? I was thinking an interesting fact about this season that I glossed over or didn't notice beforehand was that Data and Picard shared the same fate. Think about this for a minute. Picard died, and he got a new old robot body. Data died, and he got a new old robot body. They did it twice. Does that mean something? Am I just grasping at strings here, or is that some kind of thematic angle there I'm not getting? Remember when Picard didn't want to take the Enterprise into the asteroid belt? I put in belt, but asteroid field. I bet the writers don't remember. Don't have a clue. Yeah, there was this point where there's been many times where the Enterprise, it was dangerous to fly here. We can't go there. The debris field is too big. There's blah, blah, blah. The Enterprise, even back in TOS, it's a big ship. You write things different when the ship is big. And I know space is big, but the ship is also big because it's in comparison to people. Okay? And installations in space tend to be designed with people size in mind. They tend to be designed within the limits of physics. Things don't get easier to build when they're bigger necessarily, A big ship, regardless of what it's compared to, actually has a different inertial frame of reference. I just bumped my mic. It's going to necessarily be harder to rotate it on its axis with maneuvering thrusters. All these things. A big ship is just going to operate different than a small one. I've always been of the opinion that the Enterprise should be like a carrier. It shouldn't really be, in a firefight up close. It should be in the background. it should be a little bit mysterious. That's how I always felt the Enterprise should be. And just dodging asteroids with manual control in that episode of TNG I think you're referring to was very difficult. It required a lot of precision, and it was just, sweat and bullets type thing, just dodging asteroids, let alone flying inside a spaghetti network of Borg metallic pipes and whatnot. I was out by the end of this, I'm sorry to say. So I'm probably in agreement with Undertaker at this moment. And then Briscoe Rob. I feel like I lost an old friend. I don't know what that means. Did you lose me? I'm still here. You lost an old friend. What did you lose? Who died in this episode? The Borg Queen? Thanks, Briscoe Rob. And MrNaxman, the book needs to stay closed this time because that was the perfect ending. I will agree with that. They did get the emotional, end point they needed. They got the emotional capstone ending they needed that they had at the end of All Good Things. Okay? We've gotten back around. We've bypassed successfully all that nonsense that was in the TNG movies, and we got back where we needed to get. Let's just leave it alone. Are they smart enough to leave it well enough alone, MrNaxman? Well, we'll see. If Terry M is not running the show from guymoyle, if Terry M is not running the show, then we are back to Picard 1 and 2 Discovery levels of garbage, and all good will be lost. I know. Well, hey, let's not count out, other people who might come along. I don't have a lot of faith in that Star Trek Starfleet Academy show or Section 31. Sorry to say. So I think we're in agreement there, but Terry Metalis, he probably should get his own show, That's entirely his own. Probably watch that. But I don't exactly miss early Discovery or early Picard. Let's just say that. Michael Papp, I understand your frustration with how similar these scenarios seem to be. I do share regret for them reusing this plot element. The only series to have a finale without Starfleet v Starfleet was Strange New Worlds. Not to mention, no matter how much fun I had watching the ending of this season, I still had to acknowledge it was just yet another world-ending mega threat, so this dissatisfaction experience is looking a matter of varying mileage. I liked the story enough, was dazzled by the sudden Borgness of it all, to have forgotten about these repetitions during the episode itself. Seriously, I was stressing when Space Dock went down. I rooted for Seven as she did exactly what she was afraid she couldn't do. To me, it didn't feel like watching Starfleet v Starfleet. I contextualized those events so much, I only saw the Borg attacking. They stealth assimilated the Federation. They assimilated our ships and crew, used their new components to fulfill their directive. Maybe it has something to do with how the Borgified Starfleet ships were arranged in some kind of Borg symbols. I focused... Yeah, what was that about? Do you remember the formation of those ships? Was there something about that I missed? Was that significant in some way? I focused on the alien-looking patterns doing a shooty-shoot. Those ships were not Starfleet to me in that moment. I mean, yeah, but, it'd be kind of cool if we had an alien threat here and there, and they had cool alien ships that were, memorable. Like a Jem'Hadar style ship that kind of looks like some kind of insect. Just something. I mean, you're not wrong. You can view it as, this is just the Borg in the skin of Starfleet. And then you can look at it purely superficially and say, look, we got our ships versus our own ships again. Whatever. That's how I kind of feel about it. I'm Strange New Worlds breaks new ground by having a different ending for its season. I'm just kind of done with, the spectacle. Maybe it would be okay if Picard Season 3 had a non-spectacle ending. It just had a fun ending. Maybe that would have been alright. Maybe we didn't need all this shooting and stuff, Maybe we could have subverted something for good, and do it in a good way. make something that's just fun. I don't know. I just don't need to see a lot of ships shooting each other anymore. Really, I'm just kind of over it. There's got to be a better way. I mean, we did it in the motion picture. We did it in The Wrath of Khan. We did it Star Trek 3, 4. You know what? The movies kind of do this better. I'm just realizing it now. They kind of don't end with these huge shootouts. Unless you're talking like Beyond, you know, or you know, it's kind of, the shows are kind of like one ship versus one ship. It tends to be, which gets boring in itself. But I mean, that's why I like the motion picture. It doesn't really resemble anything else, really, just plot wise. It's experimental tech, maybe only meant for use in proximity in a single location. Line of sight might have been the easiest solution to massive info dump communication. Nothing fancier was needed. No anticipation of the Cloaking Federation ship. Really? Could they have figured out that the Titan was cloaking? Was there not changelings at Daystrom Station somewhere? And they could have reported that over subspace? The enemy saw the Titan A cloak, did they not, beforehand? No idea they were about to be assimilated en masse. I've got no issue with the limitations as stipulated. Plus, it was cool to have 7 cloaking and decloaking like that, like the Defiant. It was fun to bring in the Bounty's cloak again. Yeah. I see what you mean. But, I mean, to me, it just beggars belief a little bit that the Titan A could do multiple bombing runs on all those ships, and those ships couldn't, you know, just kind of back up a little bit and run into it or something. Like, they're Borg. They're going to just sacrifice anything. Just kamikaze the Titan A. I don't know. I could have did with, like, a few more non-Borgified ships. Like, I remember how there was a ship, I think it was the Excelsior, I don't know. Yeah, it was. That said they've managed to get control of their bridge back. Maybe this attack on Space Dock could have occurred earlier in the season, and we could have seen the Titan A breaking ships off from that formation and kind of making it a more balanced fight, with 7 kind of like being like the captain of the whole fleet of these people that are rebelling against the Borg. Maybe that would have complicated the plot too much, but I think that would have been cool. It would have been cool for 7. It would have been cool looking, and it would have been more believable. But everything I'm coming up with just involves rewriting, which takes a lot of time, and, you know, it's very hard. I may sound at times like I'm making it look overly easy, but it's not. So thanks, Michael Papp. I guess we're okay with line of sight, and I do know in reality some things do use line of sight. Unforgivable, sir. 7's speech was excellent. Well, I felt genuinely moved. Your opinion is very clearly and obviously totally wrong, which is exactly how opinions really work, because I said so. Isn't that funny? That is how it works, too. If you disagree with somebody, you can just say, you're totally wrong, because I said so. Goodbye, sir. I'm unsubscribing, and I'm clicking dislike, and then I'm subscribing back tomorrow and clicking like again. I don't know. I'm totally ready to give 7 a chance for some cooler speeches if she comes back for her own show as the captain of the Titan Prize. But I don't know. This speech just sounded like oddly like angry or something to me. It just came off as a little weird. I don't know. It's totally subjective. Go anywhere, type in Star Trek speech, and you'll see a million different results, all sounding kind of different. There's so many different ways to look at this. Are you sure they're going to think the Enterprise D is the most glorious Starfleet ship they've ever seen? Yes, I am sure. So majestic in her splendor. All other ships look terrible by comparison. Yes, I'm going to think that, Michael Papp. I am going to think that. What is someone going to think who watched the first 2 seasons and then got to this show and they got on the Enterprise for real and they were like, wow, it's like we stepped 100 years into the future. It's not so dim and we got yummy carpet. That is what they're going to think. She is majestic. She is, she is gloriously endowed with splendor. I'm not going to apologize. The best part about Anton quoting his father is Spock actually said it, as he was wont to do with everything being from Russia. Pavel, shall we say, accepted credit from his kids regarding the quote. I had to admit when I realized whose voice I was hearing. Yeah, I couldn't help but smile, feel warm. Yeah, I mean, I liked it just because it just reminded me of Star Trek. Like we're in the D, flying at normal looking warp with stars going by us, and we're just receiving an audio message. And I'm like thinking, yes, this is what I need. We're in the ship. We know what we have to do. Audio message from Pavel, or his son, as it were, here. Yes, we're good to go. Simple. I mean, for those, I immediately recognize the voice, but I can understand how someone who's been over the loop with TOS characters wouldn't, remember that. Maybe it didn't mean anything for a lot of people. I don't know, but it was nice to see in this season that kind of ostensibly is a TNG fan event to pay some lip service to TOS as well. In keeping with the theme of the past and, quote unquote legacy. We saw the Constitution class. We saw the Constitution class refit. We've seen Kirk name dropped. We've seen Chekhov's son here, Anton. So yeah, it was good for me. Thanks, Michael Papp. I was terrified the whole time someone was going to die. Watch this. Look how they look at the screenplay of this episode. They were making you think Riker was going to die. I didn't think it was going to be Riker. Then I thought it was going to be a fake out and Worf was going to die after getting shot. I was thinking that too. I was thinking, oh no, Riker's dead. As soon as I went in there and Riker looked at Troy, and I was just thinking, Riker is dead. He's dead. They've been playing it up the whole season. He's dead, I can tell. And then at the last minute, I was like, oh my god, wait, it could be Worf. Because we took these two characters down there for a reason. The reason we took them down here is because they know the fans love them. So if they kill them, it's going to be a big deal, right? They all survived. Thank you. Not thank you for killing Shaw, though. Just because you're new, you get the axe? Just because you don't have a storied legacy behind you, you get the axe? I don't think so. He looked epically badass. I especially thought it was baller. I would probably just yank that attachment off his own. And god dang, I know. I said in my review, as soon as I saw Borg Jack, I knew I needed an action figure about that tall on my desk. He was the coolest looking Borg. And then when he snapped out of it, he was just like, ripping these pipes out. I wanted it to be Worf to just cut those pipes with the batleth, but, he looks so cool, though. When he went back to that ship, I was thinking to myself, dude, Jack, you look so cool, leave it on. Do like 7 left some of it on. Jack, leave it on, bro. You look freaking awesome. Leave the whole thing on, why not? And have a weird, big, bulky Borg body with tight Starfleet uniform just draped over it, pulled down over it. I'm Borg Jack, I'm huge now. Get out of my way. That would have been a really cool look, or over his throat and picturing laser pointers just shooting out of his neck. Well, from what I understand, when you're assimilated, you get a euphoric high the entire time. You're giving stimulation to make you feel ecstatic while part of the collective. You fight less if high as hell. Jack was made to love being one of many, so much so leaving would be like tearing your arm off. He had to want to leave, to stop feeling as safe and whole and together as possible for an entity like the Borg Queen. Willingly cutting herself off was unthinkable. Yes, what I was alluding to here was Troy removing Riker's bad thoughts to feel happy being portrayed as cheating. Similarly, thematically, the Borg get you quote unquote high. That's also like a cheat too towards getting that connection. We're looking for connection. You can't get connection by willingly disconnecting, right? And accepting a cheap facsimile of the thing. And what they're saying here is that to connect, you need to disconnect from the false connection, right? Thanks a lot, Michael Papp. Imagine the win for Worf at the end if he had been the one to disconnect Jack, just to slice through all those, like Riker saying, you can't just disconnect him, he might die, you don't know. And Worf just mutters something to himself and just cuts right through it, and they think they killed him, but he just wakes up. It would have been so cool. It would have made it like there was really a point for Worf and Riker to be there. They were instrumental in saving Jack, and Worf got the victory at the end. Hey, Riker denies him. Don't do it, that's an order. And then Worf does it anyway. Finally, Worf is not denied, and he wins. He gets the victory he deserved. Thank you very much. That would have been really cool, but they didn't do it. Riker and Worf just kind of stand around. Arg, that would have been better too, but required another set. Might have meant not getting the D bridge. It's a great idea though. Yeah. Man, I wish we took the captain's yacht in there. We never got to see it. All those years, we never got to see the captain's yacht. And you know what? The Galaxy class is probably gone now. It's not coming back. It's probably gone. This is probably the last time we're ever going to see it. This is the last chance we ever had to use the captain's yacht, and we didn't use it. Dang it. It's the perfect thing. It's the perfect shape. It's small. Use the captain's yacht. Dang it. But, I mean, budget requirements. Maybe we just couldn't do it. I mean, I've looked through all the concept drawings for the captain's yacht, and I can see it right in front of me, and we never used it. It just sucks. Whatever. I mean, I'm glad we got the bridge of the Enterprise. I don't think we also got, the Voyager, the Intrepid class on the ventral side of the saucer section, or chevron, whatever shape you want to call it, also has the Aero shuttle. If you look underneath, there's like the outline of a shuttle with like wings on it for like atmospheric flight that we never got. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't recall having seen it. Nah, man, despite my thinking them using the yacht is an objectively cooler idea, I love the ship zooming around. Felt a bit out of character, I can see. However, I can also see how using the impulse thrusters, which went off in time with the ship's movements, according to Trekkians anyway. Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible. If it's objectively possible for the ship to do it, I can dig seeing her do it. I wish the budget was infinite. We could have gotten the battle bridge and saucer separation. Oh, man. Imagine if we got saucer sep and yacht sep, and the yacht was going into the cube, and the saucer section was zipping around at impulse around the Borg cube, trying to get like a 3D map of the inside, and they were like all communicating with each other, and the drive section was doing that like, bombing run around the thing, and they were all working together, and everybody was like, Worf was on one, and Geordi was on the other, and Data was on the other one, and Riker was down there alone in the Borg cube. Oh my god, it would have been sick. I wish the budget was infinite. We could have gotten the battle bridge and saucer separation, men engineering, the ready room, the observation lounge, transporter room 2. Then had scenes and expansive plans featuring a 3-point attack pattern. More TNG cast could have been there. The Chief. Barclay. Not Charles Barkley. It's Barclay. Mr. Mott, who had since joined Starfleet and was an officer. Everyone. Yes, Mr. Mott. All the guest stars. Spend every money. I'm just being greedy. That's all there is to it. The main engineer is my favorite. Engineering on this show was sadly lacking. Not a lot of engineering stuff shown in terms of engineering rooms in this season. A little bit disappointed. I wish we could have got this. But I guess we had to settle for the Galaxy class flying around like it's a mosquito. I know it's possible, but if it's technically possible, does that mean you should do it? Something to think about, Michael Papp. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. However, I just think it's really fun. Worf thought swords were fun. It is a character flaw of him to use instead of a more practical weapon. I accept that. Yeah, I was just basically saying that, like, Worf, are you just like, doing this for fun? Like, you don't care? You're just using a sword even though this could be the end of the world? Oh, yeah. I like swords. Swords are fun. It's a character flaw of his to use them instead of a more practical weapon. I accept that. Well, I would accept that in any other situation except for when we're trying to save Picard and his son. Oh, well. I don't feel like complaining. I don't feel like complaining about that stuff. Like, like, for me, the problem was you bringing the board back, flying the ship around like it's a fighter, and renaming the Titan. So, I mean, but this doesn't... This is, like, not even a factor for me, really, complaining about it. Like, this is so far down on the list. Like, it's just... If you can just shove in a fun thing, why not do it, I guess? This is stuff that could be the last time we see these people. You better make it fun. Star Trek Legacy, The Search for Shaw. Both finales had them playing poker. That's a sign that we were just trying to get back to the original finale of the show. That's a significant sign that we're just trying to close the book on that. Like, it's kind of like we're saying, can we just forget about the movies and the first 2 seasons of this show, please? Let's just play some poker, or whatever they played. I really like the Enterprise G design. Its exteriors felt like a cool blend of modern. I'd like to give you my opinion on the interiors. When I can see them, I'll let you know. This is where I'd put my Enterprise G interior design. If I had one. I'm totally not on board with the G, baby. I'm not a G guy. It's not impossible for this class to be the Enterprise G, but the Enterprise carries a certain legacy with it. To use that word again, the name Enterprise, we need the peak of luxury. The Enterprise is setting an example. Just remember that. I could not disagree with you more here. I love the fact that we're seeing Q again before the end of this story. Doesn't take anything away from the touching moment he had with Picard for me. Q isn't... Yeah, he's not... Right. But there's other Qs, too. We could have... This would have been a good opportunity to recast Q. Q is not linear. I know that. Q can look different. There's other Q. Just bring in a different Q. Why should his appearances be? I don't know. I know what's happening to him at his relative end. I think Q in season 2 is from the future. He came back in time to die with his favorite human in his company. Possible. The Q we see at the end of this episode is the Q last seen on Voyager. That death is so far ahead, now Q isn't concerned about it. Yeah, you're already telling me that season 2 is like an alternate timeline or universe. It's totally possible. I just know that they're just kind of like using John Delancey, right? It's kind of like the bad end of the member berry for me, because his death was also kind of supposed to be like, this is a finale for the actor, John Delancey, right? So, to me, I was just thinking it's time for the new. Like, have a guy come in, a new character playing Q. He's just a new Q. He's a different Q. We've seen that before. And just have him stand there and, I don't know, who are you? And then he would just say, I'm Q. Or, even more mysterious. He should say, an interesting question. Right? Because question starts with a Q. I don't know. I'm ready for the new. I'm ready for new now, I had season 3. I had my fill of Q of season 2. I'm ready for new. I'm ready for new Q. I'm ready for the new Q. That's all I can say. Thanks a lot, Michael Papp. Again, the F is the ugliest to me. At the Constitution refit best, the Ambassador, then Excelsior, then Galaxy, then TOS. Connie, the Constitution 3, the Sovereign, finally the Odyssey. No, wait, Dead Last or the... Oh. It's hard to defend that 2009 Constitution class, I'm going to be honest with you. Just sizes it up like twice. What is it, like 700 meters? The 2009. It's like bigger than the Galaxy class, but the windows are like in the same position. Like there's no thought in it, right? They just sized it up for no reason, and the nacelles are so close together. So you think the F is the ugliest? I'm inclined to agree. Constitution refit best, then Ambassador, then Excelsior. I was an Excelsior guy for a long time. The Galaxy, the Constitution. Now I'm like TOS Constitution tied with Galaxy class, and then number 2 would be Excelsior, and number 2 would be Excelsior tied with Constitution refit, and then number 3 would be Ambassador. Number 4 would be Sovereign, and then dead last would be Constitution 3. And Constitution 3 may be tied with Odyssey for dead last. I'm just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, again, it's just subjective. There's nothing I can really say. They all generally follow the guide. There is a guide for how to design a starship that was laid out by Gene Roddenberry and Andrew Probert, working together on TNG, that I won't get into, but these designs do follow it, so I can't say any of these designs are wrong. The closest to wrong would be the Excelsior, because you cannot see the nacelles head on from the front view. They're blocked somewhat by the saucer. Even though I like the Excelsior design, that's technically a mistake. Although the Excelsior class predates this guidebook on starship design. Thanks, Michael Papp. Yes, please go with the flow. Only just keep your zen. It's less fun for you to be said about something. You know what, though? YouTube's a funny thing. The more angry I am, the more people watch. It's more relaxing to be zen about it. You're a nice guy who doesn't deserve undue stress. Yeah, I don't deserve undue stress. Nobody does. But, this YouTube game, it's a pernicious and devious thing, and it feeds on your anger, and it wants you to be mad. And I noticed that the more mad I am, the more I hate an episode, the more I get views. It's a horrible thing, and I don't want to go along with it. But many people do, you will find. People learn to think things that they otherwise would not have thought. But I want to just stay... I'd like it if this channel could just go on like this forever. But I think you know what I'm saying, Michael Papp. So thanks a lot for commenting about the Zen. If I can deal with the Constitution refit coming from the Constitution Classic, I can deal with the Constitution Classic coming from the Strange New World Constitution. The Constitution refit is bigger and better than the Constitution Classic. The Constitution Classic, if you revert to that from the Strange New World Constitution, it's a regress in size and design, which probably would not happen. Just being real, like. And by the way, in the accepted canon Memory Alpha, the Constitution Classic was refit to the Strange New Worlds Constitution and then refit back into the Constitution Classic. There's just something that doesn't jive there for me. I wish they would just announce that it was just some other timeline. Who cares? Just say that Strange New Worlds is... Just say that Enterprise... Just say that First Contact, the Borg went back in time, created a new timeline. That timeline created Star Trek Enterprise. Because in Star Trek Enterprise, they allude to the fact that Zefram Cochrane met the people from TNG. And then that timeline led to Strange New Worlds, or led to Discovery, which led to Strange New Worlds, which led to the future of Star Trek, like Discovery Season 3, and then just say Picard Season 3, say Season 1, Season 2 are in an alternate timeline along with the Enterprise timeline, then say Picard Season 3 is in the timeline with TOS, TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. Just say that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I like the Strange New World Constitution design. But it's just... There's just something about it that makes it's hard for my brain to deal with. It call me hard-headed. I don't know. Call me overly concerned with small details. I don't know. Very cool. Did you draw this? Different design for Vox. Yes, however, it is based on this. Excellent work. Yeah, I like to do these kind of like pop art style designs on live action scenes and all that. I have one of these things here. I like to draw on this thing, and it takes me like 4 or 5 hours. It's a cathartic experience. It's very fun. I tend not to focus too much on 2D art. I like 3D modeling more, but just in my off time, I have thick scribblers just full of drawings. Every single square inch full of drawings. And it's all Star Trek, baby. I guess most of the nonsense plot is because they're almost broke and because they're from Justcrashed. This is funny just because of this last sentence and because they're stupid. I like these kind of like very succinct comments. They're just stupid. It's hard to get mad. It's hard to get mad when you see these short comments, to be honest. And I think I have a suspicion that they're running out of money. If you watch Discovery Season 1, where quote-unquote New Trek began, that show looks expensive. And then you can see it slowly looking bad. Strange New Worlds look good, though. I think they reinvested in that somehow. vocalysemusicworks. Yeah, 7 on the U.S.S. Picard with the U.S.S. Enterprise out the window, like that ending. Also, the G is an awkward transition between the F and the J. They really are going to have to stretch literally, as in stretch a ship, to get to the J now. Hates IJ or in between now. I operate, in my mind, canon operates that the J is canon. Every time I design a ship that is after the Odyssey class, I'm anticipating the J. The G doesn't, and it's just kind of strange to call it the Enterprise. Instead of their phrase, "We are the Borg," should be, "Shut up, Wesley." Cool Hand 889. Yeah, just imagine millions of Borg in unison saying, "Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley." Powercage is back. Gave me nightmares. Thanks. Mr. Incredible Becoming Uncanny. Enterprises Edition. Dang, who was your provider? Bell? Yeah, Bell provides subspace internet all the way out here. It's very slow, though. Check out that video, Why I Don't Live Stream, if you want to see how bad my upload speed is. David Yerger. I can't find out why all the other big YT channels love PS3. And all the little piss ant channels like yours are crapping on it. Are you jealous that you don't get an advanced screening? No. So this must be Picard Season 3. All the little piss ant channels. What a horrible way to say it. Like you are crapping on it. No, I'm not jealous that I didn't get an advanced screening. It's just time. It's over. Like, that advanced screening, I'm at the point in my life where I can wait years for something. Time just goes by to me. It just doesn't mean anything. We're past it now. Is it that big of a deal that I didn't get a pre-screening? No. If I was getting pre-screenings, people would rightly assume that my opinion about it would be colored by that, right? So shouldn't you not want that? I mean, but also you're saying you can't figure out why the big YouTube channels love Picard Season 3. I don't know. Ask them. You've asked me why I'm crapping on it. You watched all my reviews. I assume you know I didn't crap on it. I just pointed out when some things were bad, and I pointed out when some things were good. If anything, I'd say it's a mixed bag. You know, that's leaning towards the good. Is that really crapping on it? But thanks for your input, David Yerger. Yeah, this is what I was. This is totally correct. This is we're getting into the responses for responding to comments. So we're getting into the meta comments now, which I will save for the last video. This video is getting so long, my internet is about to explode. So I will be back shortly. Thanks for watching this long. If you did, I'll see you shortly, which is next time, which is in a few days. So long.